A new report says that the U.S. and China are seeking to restart talks to help defuse the trade war. Our Kayla Tausche watching that this morning. Hey, Kayla.
Hey, Carl, that headline giving a lift to the market, some optimism about where these talks could potentially be headed. The crux of the article that was published just a few minutes ago by Bloomberg News says that Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and his counterpart in China, the Vice Premier Liu He, have basically been restarting talks to figure out how to avert a trade war. Well, a couple points that should be raised about that nugget specifically. Number one, the Treasury Secretary said on CNBC last week that quiet conversations between the U.S. and China continue, though he would not comment on the status of them. And he said that if China were to come to the table with a serious offer about changing market access and long-term economics of the relationship between the two countries, then they would consider it, but signaling that essentially there had been a stalemate on that front. Another point that I would raise is Larry Kudlow, the NEC director, a couple of weeks ago at CNBC's Delivering Alpha, said that while there had been conversations between the U.S. and the mid-level and high-level Chinese economic officials, that the buck stopped with President Xi and that he appeared unwilling to do a deal and that the ball remained in his court. So I would caution that while there is reporting that the Treasury Secretary and the Vice Premier in China are talking, that may not be new, and it also may not be enough to get a deal. I spoke with a Treasury official who said it is still the department's policy not to comment on the status of discussions with China. But this report says that one of the catalysts for these talks is the potential imposition of new tariffs this week. There is a $16 billion tranche of Chinese exports that is being studied for new tariffs. And there's a comment deadline that expires today. But an administration official tells me that it's going to take some time to process the public comments that have come in, and that it is not likely that those tariffs will go into effect this week. So we might have a little bit of wiggle room on that, but we will see whether we get any more details about exactly what conversations might be taking place, how formed they are, and whether, in fact, they do have the sign-off from President Xi, which appears necessary at this point to move forward.